Hi, I'm Sharon Renfro of SharonRenfro.com and Our Hearts and Minds. Our Hearts and Minds believes that we must open our minds to be able to open our hearts to one another, a fundamental idea to an alternative way to understand relationship psychology. Now, this means that the key to relationship success is actually thinking. Today's video is part 5 of a series on divorce. And today's video is going to focus on triangles or alternative solutions so that we can look at maybe alternative solutions to doing divorce the way that we do it, which I believe is really pretty destructive. So I'm going to just get down to my ideas. Besides being common, divorce is a predictable event, and it involves the externalization of anxiety accumulated over the lifetime of a relationship. This accumulation occurs when couples negotiate the challenges of a relationship, primarily using the emotional system, paying particular attention to negative feelings. The initial assessment of all interactions forces each person into categorizing every event into either safety or threat. When a threat is sensed, instinctual emotional reactions directed at the relationship partner provides short-term relief from the anxiety that's sensed without any resolution of the problems. The lack of resolution allows for anxiety to accumulate and therefore increases the sensitivity for the very next issue that arises. Conflict, fight, distance, flight, pretend, camouflage, and cutoff play dead repeatedly take a toll, not just on the individual, but on the relationship itself. Eventually, enough is enough. But even when the relationship dissolves, seeking resolution from the constant emotional bombardment, the anxiety becomes externalized into 3 different places. Number 1, social and familial systems. Number 2, a negative focus on any newly formed relationship. And/or number 3, the legal system, in which representatives take over the emotional reactions of conflict, distance, pretend, and cutoff. These externalized sources of anxiety dumps, they serve the same purpose of anxiety reduction with no resolution. Divorces then become pits in which to dump anxiety, creating a process that leaves lifelong scars. All of this is unnecessary. There is an alternative way to divorce. Number 1, family and friends who mean to support oftentimes exacerbate anxiety, which is hard to see, as the experience of heightened emotions and intensified negative feelings create a sense of justification of heinous behaviors directed toward the relationship partner, the ex-partner. A process that would be beneficial would be if a support person could remain neutral and objective, assisting family members or friends to use the divorce process as an opportunity to mature emotionally and form a deeper understanding of relationship process. Now, this doesn't mean that the support person pretends a neutrality, but that the support person strives to understand both sides of the issue. For example, a man who may have engaged in an affair as a solution to living in a relationship with a partner who expresses no attachment toward him, that partner be able to explore issues pertinent to the tendency to cut off in reference to the affair. And that may very well make a real difference to the failure or future success of future relationships for this person who has trouble making the attachments. Number 2, the newly formed relationship provides a source on which to externalize anxiety. Now, factually, each individual in a relationship takes responsibility for maintaining fidelity in that relationship. When couples do not deal with real issues, particularly addressing the imbalance in the need to be an individual self and the need for a relationship, it can create an environment in which starting a relationship prior to ending a current relationship is more likely. But under no circumstances is the new person in the newly formed relationship responsible for the demise of the relationship. However, conflict, distance, pretend, and or cutoff directed at the individual drains anxiety for the person who is being left. Interestingly, when that person forms a new relationship, that newly formed relationship gains the status of being perfectly acceptable. The result of divorce is that new relationships will be formed. What is important is to not negatively focus on the new person, because that denies the divorcing individual the opportunity to explore, understand, and correct the emotional process that ended in the relationship ending. Turning into a clearly posted dead-end street and not expecting to go somewhere defies logic, but we do it all the time in our personal lives. Number 3, hiring a legal professional to take over the expression of emotional behaviors may make an individual sense being safer, as the lawyer protects the individual and ensures justice. But these legal battles only keep alive the emotional process that has operated throughout the relationship. If individuals cannot see what led them to this point due to too low self-awareness and cannot, as a result, understand what happened, the legal process will not fix the problems. Once the courts have granted the divorce, the individuals will once again be forced to deal with the anxiety, whose marker is intense negative feelings. The legal process has been defined, and as it has been based on societies and governments' emotional understanding, and it locks people into adversarial positions that don't account for pertinent and objective information. Injustice does not promote emotional maturation, but adds yet another layer of anxiety onto an already burdened system. Society has got to come to some sort of alternative point of view about what relationships are and what divorce is. Now, if these ideas have been beneficial to you, please like us so that others may find us. You may find in-depth discussions of these ideas at SharonRenfro.com in our free podcast series, Our Hearts and Minds, The Psychology of Relationships. And thank you so much for listening.